Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TA Certified Podcast. If you can hear my voice, you are in the right place. Today, I am by myself. If you're a viewer of the TA Certified Podcast, it's usually football related, but it's time for a rebrand, ladies and gentlemen. Time for a rebrand. The TA Certified Podcast will be taking a turn and we'll be doing more newsworthy content, local here in San Diego. We're doing nation news as well. We're going to get into all things more podcasty and not just so much sports. And today is the start of that. So I just wanted to get that off my chest at the beginning and let you all know that this is going to be non-sports related, and we're talking local news, politics, and I have a few stories that I want to go over and bring to you. So let's get into it. If you are a human on Earth and you don't just watch TV and Netflix, you know about the Republican national debates. We do have a election coming up here in November of next year, 2024, and things are starting to heat up. We got some Trump indictments. We have some Republican nominees trying to make some noise, a la Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, and some of those people trying to come up and unseat what was the reigning Republican candidate, Donald Trump. And so the night was interesting. And prior to the kickoff of the coverage on Fox News, Tucker Carlson, now part of Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now X, has started a show on there, and where he does some of what he did for Fox News, and that is interview people, where he had some of the biggest audiences on all of cable news and all of television in general. So he brought that luster and flair over to X, and he got to sit down with former President Trump to get a candid sit down interview with not a bunch of crowd, not all. It was very cut and dry and plain, to the point, which for I think is great. I think is great. We need a little bit of Trump not around the lights, because when the lights turn on, he gets a little showy. So when we can get him sitting down, talking one-on-one to someone he's comfortable with as well, um, it is an interesting deal. So if you did watch it, 45 minutes long, give or take, I think the consensus seems to be there was nothing new that came of it. It was fairly fairly boring. I would hesitant to say. Just it was standard Trump talking points, kind of going over some of the Georgia indictment arrest thing issues. And this was the day before his mugshot came out, which has completely backfired on all Democratic strategy. That has been completely backfired. That headshot mugshot will now go down in infamy, and not in a way. I guess infamy is not the right word. It will go down as a huge thing in national politics and just American culture in general, I think. So I want to go over a piece of what was said on the Tucker and Trump interview, which I thought was very interesting. If we all remember, which is insane that I have to say this, because it should still be national news until the list is given. Jeffrey Epstein was a man who had a lot of power and persuasion amongst the political elites, if you will. Come to find out, he had a child sex ring, and a lot of elites were part of this. Former President Clinton was namely on there, names like Bill Gates, and many more. But the list has still never come out. So apparently, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were arrested for just capturing young women and keeping them on an island for themselves. We all know that's false. And since then, Jeffrey Epstein has committed suicide. I'm doing this in air quotes, suicide. If you haven't looked into that story, I would say do that. I would say very much do that, because there's no indication besides what the establishment corporate media is telling us that indicates that Jeffrey Epstein actually did kill himself. Actually, the Mueller report came out and showed that there was ligature marks around Epstein's neck, more consistent with a strangling than a hanging. So all fingers point to it not being a suicide, it being a inside mission with the cameras around this highly surveillance area were just off. They were just so sorry. We just forgot to turn them on apparently, and the guards were asleep. Asleep. That's what the talking corporate line is, that they were just asleep. And he killed himself. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, right? So if you're someone who has a rational thought in your brain, you realize what's going on here. There's a undercover cover up, not so undercover, because if you're reading some of what's out there, it's very obvious it's just not being admitted by the press, which is just an extension of the government, and they continue the talking points that all the government wants them to continue to talk about. So you'll never ever hear about that list, who was on it, why, how many times, and what their involvement was. So that was my prelude into a interesting question Tucker had for President Trump, and I want to share that here so we can all sit and listen to that. So let me pull this up. Okay, we're up, and let's play it. Here we go.
Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely?
I don't know. I will say that, he was a fixture in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I don't know what Barr said about it either. I have no idea what he said. What did he say? He killed himself, probably?
He said he killed himself and that they were going to do this investigation. They never did the investigation. It's never been public.
Well,
and they hid it. And why are they doing that? And clearly Barr knew. But why would Bill Barr be covering up the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either. Okay, he said he did, and he pretended he did, but he didn't. McSwain, the U.S. attorney in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, said Barr just wouldn't let him do it. It was crazy. Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. We're going to impeach him. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
It's not a big moment in history. But they said, we're going to impeach. They play a much rougher game, the left, the lunatics. And they were going to impeach Bill Barr, and he was petrified. Now, how do you not get impeached? Don't do any of this stuff. But he didn't do the job there. I don't know what he did with Epstein, but possibly he didn't.
Do you think it's possible that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean, I don't really believe. I think he probably committed suicide. He had a.
Okay, so there's Trump going along with what everyone has been saying. He probably committed suicide. He goes on to say, well, Jeffrey Epstein lived a lavish life. And if you go from having a lavish life into being imprisoned and being, in this cell where, the reports are that it was gross with rat and yada, yada. So Trump also goes along, and you can tell Tucker is there very confused, because Tucker, as much as he is establishment in the sense of he's come from money, he has wealth, he's been on Fox, he's all the news aspect of him all. He is very much a populist in the sense that he tells it like it is. He was saying the CIA killed Kennedy on his show before he got taken off of Fox. There was a lot of populist talking points that Tucker espoused, and he tried to push President Trump in that way, knowing the American public would respect Trump a lot more too if he could come out and say and I guess agree with what everyone kind of sees as plain fact. And not even Trump could get there. And it says a lot about, because he was involved. He did know him. He's been, and Trump knew Epstein. And it tells me a little bit about what maybe Trump knows and what he, if exposed, the list, the full story, what he could also be part of. As much as Trump is vindictive and wants to take down the swamp establishment, the Democratic all of that, he understands what the deal is and how the DOJ, because he's feeling it now, but how it all works. And he got a firsthand experience being the president for 4 years. So of course he'll say that. And what bothers me is Tucker, push him harder. I know you're trying to help, get him elected again. And I understand the country hasn't been anywhere near where it was when Trump was president in terms of economy. And you can say for all sorts of different reasons, but it's coming up on 4 years of Biden now, and it seems that things are regressing more than they are progressing. If you're a normal American in this society working to pay what you got, you feel it. If you're not someone who's ultra rich or in these niche businesses, you feel the squeeze of inflation. You feel the squeeze of gas. You feel the squeeze of groceries. Everyday living has gone up if you are a normal American. Anyone listening to this, a normal American, you understand what I'm saying. And if you don't, then you might be normal American, but you're not in the same working class as many of us are. So that part bothered me, because what is it going to take for someone to have the fucking balls to come out and be honest about this shit? Okay? Be honest about why isn't this the biggest story on all the media outlets until that list comes out, until the people are listed and named. Why aren't we pressing? Why aren't we continuing to trying to push for the truth? America is a foundation of truth, and it has become nothing. It is no longer that, and it hasn't been that for fucking years. I'm 29. I'm just coming to this game late about understanding the sinister aspect of this of the way of life and the people in charge, and how things just get brushed under the rug because a president doesn't want to be the one who sits on the as wasn't the leader while America fucking crumbled. Well, maybe it needs to fucking crumble, huh? Maybe it needs to crumble for us to move forward as a community of fucking people who can better themselves, because right now no one can better themselves the way things are. It's impossible unless, it's going to take insane hard work. That's why you have two-parent households continuing to have to work 40 plus hours a week on both sides and still feel squeezed. So I digress because as you can tell, this shit fires me up. This Epstein story just goes away and no one fucking brushes an eye. And it truly is disturbing. And I guess the more you know about the country, unsurprising, to be quite honest, unsurprising. So let's move on to the Republican the Republican presidential debates. Quick thoughts. Was it entertaining? Sure. Was the crowd a huge part of why it was so entertaining? Yes. What I'm going to say first is what you need to get the crowd. And I know capitalism is the bedrock of the American way of life. And if you can sell tickets, then sell tickets. If people have the money to buy and they're willing to buy, I get it. But this is the future of the country. So if you have people discussing important topics, Ukraine, geopolitics, foreign policy, local politics, how we're doing a lot of different things, right? And we want to know what their honest, true opinions are without a fucking crowd doing the whole cheers and boos. This isn't a fucking football game. This isn't a football game where your favorite team just scored a touchdown. This is real life with real consequences that affect real people. So the quicker we can get rid of the crowd, I think the better. Moving on. The Republican Party as a whole, outside of a few, is like the same. It's a bunch of warhawks with standard talking points that continue to push for, being the beacon of light around the world. We're going to be the leaders of the free world. There's no proof. You lied us into Afghanistan. We try to go there and say we're going to, free those people and make sure their society is democratic and free. And what happened? If you read the Afghanistan papers, it was all a lie that we as the American people backed because they're so good at making a compelling story that we can all buy in on and feel really good about getting behind. That's it. And if you're sitting here shaking your head saying, oh, this fucking guy's wrong, you're part of the problem. Take a step back in your rah-rah shit and take your Trump or your Biden Harris sign off the front lawn, shut the fuck up and know that they all are on the same team for the most part, and they all want the same outcome for them, their donors, Wall Street, to continue to make money so that when they're done, they can say, my economy did this under my. Okay, they don't care about the downtrodden. They don't care about the people in the fields making sure our food gets on everyone's table and all the grocery stores. They don't care about those people. They want to make sure Wall Street is there to continue to prop up this fake bubble that we're in, that 2008 exposed, but yet we're still, it's just, it never ends. It never ends. So before I get on a rant, okay. Key takeaways here for me. Ron DeSantis has a lot of work to do. I'll say that. He seems uncomfortable in the lights. He might be always just a really good governor. He did a great job in Florida with keeping it free during COVID. I lived here in California, and I can tell you firsthand, it felt a lot different than what I was seeing going on in Florida. I had people who I knew who lived in Florida at the time, and it sounded a lot better. And when you looked at death rates and all that versus California versus a very restrictive place versus, say, Florida specific, right? Not much was different. And you sure as hell heard a lot from Gavin Newsom and all this about how Ron DeSantis is killing grandma and Ron DeSantis is this and that. And it just all, if you look at data, take your feelings out of it. If you look at data, you can see facts. Okay. But my friend, he has some work to do. And that moment where the moderators asked everyone if president, are they going to continue funding the war in Ukraine that's going on with Russia, or will they stop funding? Sorry. And Vivek and a couple others raised their hands. Ron DeSantis takes a look left, takes a look right, sees Vivek raising his hand, and he, like a schoolboy, I'm going to copy that guy. I'm also going to raise my hand. Not a good look at all. And then he proceeds to use the Anthony, you are fired bit. Like what are you trying to make fun of Trump? Are you using Trump's? I don't even know the point of what that was. He was talking about, prosecuting Fauci. No, let's talk about prosecuting the deep state, the CIA, the FBI. Stop with the low hanging fruit. We get that Fauci lied, and yes, he probably should get prosecuted. And will he? No. Don't be naive. No, he won't. Unless public pressure. That's what we can do, right? Moving on. All candidates attacked Vivek a ton, showing just how they felt about him. He's climbing in the polls. He's using social media as a tool, and he's 39, so he gets the game a little bit. He's not too far removed from a lot of us people who are politically, I guess the word's enthused, like we're in it. And he, as a Republican candidate, understands the shortcomings of the Republican Party on many different policies, a la abortion and things like that not many people agree with. So that's why you see a lot of their the ratings and the pollings and all that. It's always negative towards Republicans, and I think he's starting to get the establishment. Just isn't what we want. So he's playing to that. He's definitely playing to that. And he's definitely a serious contender. Tim Scott pulls the same talking points that he always seems to pull. The single mother. I was raised. We worked hard. He's a black man in American, which is all very impressive. But we need more, and he's a great candidate, and I liked him a lot. And I just think we need more from him. And we're not looking, I guess it's hard when you do these debates, because you need to have a personality. You need to command the room. You need to speak clearly. It's a game, right? It's a work. It's a dance. And he doesn't do that all that well. So that's one of his biggest shortcomings for sure. So he was one of my losers in just the sense that he had a chance to really come out and make a statement. And it seemed that he's just not fully comfortable in the lights. Mike Pence seemed the most comfortable and confident. That makes the most sense. He's been in politics so long. He was just the vice president for Trump for 4 years. Had a lot of time speaking in front of cameras, speaking to the nation. So it's easy to see why he was so well articulated in his points. But my God, do you have to take 10-minute breaks each time between sentences? Like, you spit it out, Junior. Spit it the fuck out, dude. We all hear you. You don't need to dumb it down and slow it down for us. American people, I think, are a lot smarter than you give us credit for. And this whole, the American, I'm here for America. And the pause is too much, brother. You might have been the grown up in the room, but the condescending way you speak made me. I walked out of the room just multiple times. Like, I can't get through this guy's whatever he's trying to say, whatever he's fucking trying to say. There's a moment that I loved. I loved this moment. Vivek versus Nikki Haley. It just opened the curtain to what you get with an establishment Republican at the helm, a la Nikki Haley, who says we can do both. We can take care of our own people in America while being the leaders of the free world and elsewhere, and help our friends in Ukraine. Well, what about the European countries around there? Why haven't they given us? We've given more money to Ukraine than we've given to any other cause, I think, ever as America. And we just, as Maui fires were going on, Biden decides that's the best time to again announce more aid. So we have given so much money, ammunition, and people still look at this like CNN asked Trump, do you want Russia to win? They talk about war as if it's a football game, if it's just a soccer, a basketball, winning and losing. We're losing human beings. That's what we're losing. We lose human beings and their lives the longer this bullshit goes on. They're the one. You can say all you want about Trump. I wasn't the biggest. I didn't vote for. I get it. Okay, I get it. One thing he didn't do was have a new war in his 4 years. A new war. Can we just have a time that is, 5 years? Where there's no new wars, where we're not in conflict like Yemen, Syria, arming rebels, doing regime change. Like, can we have that? Or is this just what we do with this taxpayer money that we all work our fucking asses off and get taken from us to then just give to these clowns to then use as they will? Because, well, they know better than us. They know better than us what to do with that money. And why don't we get a receipt? Why don't we change the taxes in this way? How about we're going to take your taxes, but we're going to give you a list of things and causes that you can choose where your money to go to, and you bubble in when you're during your tax season, and you bubble in where you want that money to go instead of giving it to the fucking the federal government to do what they will with. Because it's obvious that their accounting is terrible. Before 9/11 happened, they lost trillions of dollars. That the SEC had to be completely disbarred during the 2008 bubble because no one was doing their fucking job. No one. So interesting. But let's hear and watch together this exchange between Nikki Haley and Vivek. I think it's great. So here we go.
Yeah, I wish you well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon.
No, I'm not on the fact of the matter. And
Boeing came off of it, but you've been pushing this lie. You've been pushing this lie all week,
Nikki.
You
want to go and defund Israel. You want to
okay, let me address that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to address each of those right now. This is the false lies of a professional politician. There you have it.
Your watch,
so the reality
is, America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know what? The foreign policy experience that you all have shows in the pointless wars we've gotten into. I have to address that. So our relationship.
Check that out. He says, in the foreign policy experience that you have has led us into a bunch of foreign wars. And she has not. She walks. You hear in the crowd. It's the fact that they're cheering. People don't even know what they're cheering for. She's literally saying we're going to stay in Ukraine for however fucking long it takes. And people are cheering because she owned him. Oh, you have no foreign experience and it shows. Oh, what are we at Twitter? What are we on Twitter? Like this whole girl boss fucking thing that she's got going on. Sure, that's the way you want to strong arm. That's fine. But what you are trying to girl boss for is continued war. Are your sons at war, Nikki Haley? Do you have sons? Who knows? Do people you know, are your people you know, are their sons in the war? No. This doesn't affect you, right? This doesn't affect you. So of course you'll give all the fucking funding to Ukraine, to all sorts of different places, because it just doesn't affect you. You just don't feel, we need to help our friends. We need to, friends, really? Is it any wonder that, Hunter Biden and Biden were the most corrupt in Ukraine during his time as vice president? And this just so happens to be, we've given them the most money ever. And everything we say that's off limits, we're now doing, helping them, M16s, all these sorts of different things. If you can't wake up, folks, I don't know what to tell you. Let's get together. This is bullshit. These people are liars. And the fact that this woman comes on spouting Republican, not even, this is establishment talking points. We're gonna be in war until we've decided it's done. Like, the winner of this whole debate, if there's a winner in this, I'm looking at Vivek did a great job. He's been polling better. That's why he was front and center with Ron DeSantis. They're 2-3 right under Trump. And Vivek is climbing. He is climbing. They all took their shots. Christie and him had a couple back and forth. He compared him to Obama, but Vivek is quick. He's like, give me a hug, man. Just like you did Obama. Give me a hug. Help me get elected. Come on. Give me a hug, buddy. I love it. This kid is quick. And now all over Twitter, there's a lot of things coming out about Vivek, about him not being genuine. And hey, this could be right. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm going to go to bat for some politician. Okay. And he was always saying, I'm not a politician. I'm not that. He was on Hannity after the debates. You can go check this out. He was on Hannity after the debates, and he goes, I'm not a politician. And he goes, you're officially a politician. He goes, oh, okay, I guess I'm a politician. I guess I'm like, the guy's cool and he gets it, but let's not get it twisted either, folks. Don't get fooled by a wolf in sheep's clothing. Don't get fooled. Obama came in as anti-establishment and was one of the most establishment presidents we've ever fucking had. Okay, and if you don't think so, read some information on the amount of drone bombings, on how he took care of Wall Street, on how he kept the CIA and FBI and the whistleblower issue. He came and said, "I'm going to let go," and that was not the case at all. We still have Snowden and Assange still, so nothing changed. Okay, one thing about Vivek, look it. It's a little hot in here too. I'm getting heated up. If he was a stock, I'm buying that stock. Is he going to be the nominee this cycle? Absolutely not. There's almost a 0% chance he will be the nominee. It's Trump. It's just Trump, to be quite honest. Like, I'm not even going to give DeSantis. He's the next, I guess, but I'm not even going to give him. I'll give him 2% chance. 2%. Vivek has 0, but in the next 4 years, after this cycle goes through, and then whether it's a Democrat or Republican that gets into office, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but no matter what, he's not going to get in this 4 years. But in the coming, 2028, he's going to be a huge player. If he's a stock, you buy that stock right now. So that's all I have on the presidential debates. We're moving on to this interesting article I found. With the housing market being what it is, the interest rates being high, not a lot of inventory. People who bought low, 3%, 2%, 4% even, are not moving. There's no reason. There's no incentive for them to get out. So, this is not really relevant to what I'm saying. I'm just giving you some cold hard facts. But I do want to bring this up. A house in Michigan was listed for $1 and sold for $52,000. So this is a super interesting marketing strategy by the listing agent. And I guess the article says that the listing agent and the seller have been working together on multiple properties for years. And this specific property had sat vacant for 20 years. Look at the place. It makes sense. It's a little rough. If you're watching this live, it's a fixer-upper to say the least, and we don't even know the part of what the part of that city or that the city that they're in looks like. So we'll go on here. It says, okay. While listing a Michigan house on Zillow last week, Chris Hubble, listing agent, pressed only one numerical key for the home price, $1. First of all, Awesome way to start that article. Washington Post article here. The real estate agent dubbed it the world's cheapest home and spared no details in its online description. Hubble divulged its unique features, including floor hole, besides the furnace and overgrown greenery that enticed local critters for an impromptu garden party. So this guy was being fucking clever, basically what they're saying. The roof might have seen better days, he wrote, but hey, it's not leaking yet. It's just keeping you on your toes, providing an unexpected shower of excitement when you least expect it. The dude was selling this home as a, being quite honest about what it is. It's a piece of shit. Really, it's a piece of shit. And if you buy it, you have some work to do, but it could be fun. I guess this is what he's saying. And the article goes on to say what began as an off-the-wall tactic to sell the Pontiac. So we're in Pontiac, Michigan home escalated as the listing went viral. Potential buyers called from around the world, and more than 140 offers poured in, ranging from 27 cents to more than 50 grand, which is nuts. The house sat on the market for 8 days, waiting for someone to buy their ticket to the real estate adventure of a lifetime. He wrote that as on the Zillow listing, on the Zillow description. Yeah, okay, so he goes on to say he and his client, Mary Blair, that's the seller, accepted an offer Wednesday morning for 52 grand. I was afraid I was going to have to sell it for $1, but that didn't happen, thankfully, Blair, who's 64, told Washington Post. But I just didn't expect it to go that big. Blair has been buying and selling rental properties in Pontiac since the early 90s. She'd worked with Ho before, and when he approached her on a couple weeks ago with the idea to list one of her properties for a single $1, she, quote, just let him run with it. So this to me is just, folks, listing agents out there. I'm a real estate agent too. I got my certification a year ago, and it's been a hard road, but I've learned a lot through this, and I'm now starting to pick up on just the nuances of real estate, which there's a ton. One thing you need to know as a real estate agent, realtor, marketer, whatever, you have to be interesting. And when you have a product that in this case, it's not a great home, that is an inferior product, you have to go the extra mile to be clever, to write as he did, be on. There's ways to market things that will get you a lot of traction. I think there's another part of this article I wanted to go through. It's interesting. Let me find it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. This part. Just one day after Hubble listed home, Zillow Gone Wild, a social media account dedicated to the weird and quirky corners of Zillow, reached out to him asking to run a story about it. When the account posted, Hubble was on his way home from a different showing. In the span of 20-minute motorcycle ride, badass, he received at least 50 phone calls and a nonstop stream of text messages. Hubble checked the Zillow page and saw that its views were already skyrocketing into the thousands. Where I'm trying to find more. Where is it? Here we go. Let me see. Okay, here we go. A YouTuber who put in a $5,000 offer told Hubble they would document the renovation efforts online to bring it even more virality. He said another social media influencer wanted to trade an RV for the house he had. So this home, because of the way he marketed it, and because of the way the world we live in with the YouTubes and the Twitters and the TikToks and all that shit, people got creative. People got creative in wanting to turn this into a business opportunity for themselves, that's America, folks. That's just America. That's capitalism. You find something that can bring profits to you, and then maybe help in this case the listing agent, and everyone wins. So because the job that this realtor did outside the box thinking, it's a testament to creativity, to being just, being smart with how you do things, I really admire this man for what he did and how he sold it. And I'm going to keep my tabs on him just to see any more tips and tricks I can take from him. Because if you're going to sell a home that wasn't selling for 20 years, you listed it for $1 and it went, I don't even know how to do the math, 52K. So that's a times X times whatever that is. He knows what he's doing. Moving on to another article here, and it's more somber note. A place that's near and dear to my heart, Maui, Hawaii. Maui, if you haven't known, if you haven't been told yet, or you're aware, Maui's been hit by some serious wildfires. The Lahaina area is just ravished. This past April, I ran the half marathon there. Let me pull it down for you. Let me see this right here. Look at this. Maui half marathon. If I hope it, maybe it was one of the most magical places I've been on. Me and my fiance had an amazing time there. The best vacation we've ever had. And I'm an avid runner. Put this back up there. I'm an avid runner, and that was by far my favorite place to have a half marathon. The sights, the views, how we were running through local parts of town, and these fucking people just did this was still they didn't really close off a bunch of the streets and all that. Like out here in San Diego, when you do have it, they block stuff off all for everything so we can run. Out there, they kind of blocked it off. We were running through local parts where the locals were still doing work and unpack. It was just an awesome experience. So seeing what Maui's gone through has been heartbreaking, and hearing some of the conspiracy theories and hearing some of just the news that's come out since the fires, it's been devastating. So here's the article head. Maui utility may have compromised evidence in fire probe, lawyer says. So basically, Hawaiian Electric which is, we all have our electric companies out here, and Hawaii's is Hawaiian Electric, has come under scrutiny for being believed to have been the cause of some of this Lahaina fire. So the story goes, it says that, a lot of old infrastructure in Maui and overgrown brush around some of the poles, electric poles, and this outdated stuff, this outdated lines, power lines, sparked, it dripped down to the overgrown and caused the fire. So they're saying that the electric company's negligence, lack of upkeep could have been part of this whole issue. In this article, what this lawyer is saying is that the electric company removed damaged poles, fallen power lines, transformers, conductors, and other equipment before the ATF could arrive on scene. And the ATF usually does guns and bomb issues, but in this case, this is I think I wrote it down here. This is the agency's third wildfire investigation. So the ATF was to come investigate, notes and bring it back to the federal government to better decide what went on. What was the cause? Was this natural? And, we have a lot of people screaming climate change. But I think there's a lot more evidence to point to, just on a place that didn't keep up with, degrading infrastructure, basically. Lahaina area is very nice, but there is, we drove around, me and my fiance, a lot. We really try to soak in the local parts of it, and you can see the oldness. There was wear and tear. So this doesn't necessarily surprise me hearing that, but what does surprise me is maybe this doesn't seem to be nefarious, but you can see where maybe this benefited the Hawaiian Electric Company to remove some of their damaged poles, fallen power lines, fucking A, what? Transformers, conductors, and other equipment before the investigative team could come on there and really see what's going on. So this to me is it's shady, for sure, shady. The federal government's response has been terrible, and if you haven't seen the video of these Hawaiians, what's the word? It's saying hi to Biden as he comes in. Hi is not a good word. I guess they really made sure he heard it. They're not happy out there. I know Biden gave each Hawaiian $700 for your damages, basically. If your family's died, your home's gone, what in the fuck does $700 do for you? Well, these crooks continue to give out billions of dollars to Ukraine. That's the low-hanging fruit, I know, but that's just facts at this point. We have homelessness all over this country. We have despair. We have youth homelessness. If we talk about how many college students grow hungry, we have so many ways to help the American people in crisis and everyday issues, and yet the American taxpayer pays for these wars and it's insane. So there's a long road to recovery for Maui. This isn't going to be an overnight thing. I know there's been a lot of social media stuff going around that says don't go to Maui, why would you go there and flaunt your wealth and all this. Maui is so much tourism for their economy that I think the mayor came out and said, hey, we need you guys. We understand the sincerity and the severity of this issue, but we need you tourists to help us grow again. Because if we tourists stop going, then what are the local mom and pop shops going to do? Because then they're going to go out of business, and you're going to have big companies, BlackRock, all these companies that buy homes and buy land and buy, they're going to go out there, build this place, build it up in Maui, and it'll never be as anyone remembers. I've been there once, and it was for a good amount of time, and I understand that this probably people have gone so much more. So people, if you've gone more than me, you feel what I'm saying. Don't take this as, oh, this guy's front. No, I feel the pain of Mount. I feel for Hawaiians. I feel for just everyday people, because that's part of the USA. That's a part of America. Those are that's our people over there too. Those are our people over there. So the fact that we're just letting it kind of go to shit doesn't surprise me, which is the saddest part. It doesn't surprise me, because this is what we've always kind of done. All our responses are half-assed and a day late and a dollar short. Really. So I'm hoping for the best. And I know there's a lot of wealthy people who love Maui who will give. And if you have the space, the time, the money to give, I would recommend it. That place is heaven on earth. It really is heaven on earth. So it's just another sad story of federal government response, people not getting the support they need. And, maybe this will wake up some people there. Maybe this will wake up to just, the general depravity and uncare that the federal government has when they espouse that they care so much and everything they do for us is in our benefit. Stop it. Okay, so that is national news. That is national news around just kind of the stuff that I've gone through and has piqued my interest. Now we're moving on to local news. San Diego, I'm talking to you. If you're listening and you're in San Diego, I have a couple things that have come across my radar and I want to bring up. I'll pull up this article. First is a boil water advisory in the Coronado Silver Strand Imperial Beach area. Let me pull this article up. Okay. Boil water advisory impacting 100,000 residents and businesses in southern San Diego County. That is insane. So basically, E. coli was found in the drinking water right here. E. coli contaminants were found in drinking water of South Bay service provider. Residents impacted by the advisory can pick up water at the location below. So there's a location somewhere down here that you can get clean and good drinking water. And it is unclear when this will be lifted. So E. coli was found in the water. Presence of E. coli indicates, and I'll say this slowly, contaminated with human or animal waste. So maybe this is Hurricane Hillary's legacy, because not much. If you were in San Diego, the world, the sky, everything was falling when this was happening. I was getting text messages from everybody in my family in Kansas, in Kentucky, in Temecula. Everyone was making sure I was okay out here, and nothing really came to be of it was. And I'm sure things did go on. I heard some power outages and I heard some flooding, and I know, but I didn't hear anything too crazy. This past winter, if you're a resident, you understand it was insane out here in San Diego. There was flooding in Mission Valley, and that didn't even happen during Hurricane Hillary. So this whole maybe this was the aftermath of it all. But this water is not safe to drink, to brush your teeth, or cook with. Okay, so you're gonna have to buy bottled water, crack that bitch open, put it on your toothpaste and your toothbrush to brush your teeth right now. And this is affecting 100,000 people in businesses, especially a business. And businesses, you better not be fucking still using this shit. I'm telling you now, if you get people sick, you're gonna feel it. You will feel it. The trust amongst people is huge. Make me slap the papers. That's when I get pissed. So you have to boil water for 3 minutes in these areas. That's the only way you can drink this water. Let's see what else this article says. Let's see. So, okay. A spokesman, Brian Barreto, with Cal American Water Company, CAWC, said the alert was expanded to the following areas, but did not state why. or why the added areas weren't initially included in the advisory. The fuck. Anyways, here we go. Coronado, South Fiddler's Cove, all of Imperial Beach, parts of West Chula West Chula Vista, serviced by CAWC, parts of West San Ysidro, serviced by the same, parts of the Nestor neighborhood, parts of Otay Mesa West neighborhood, parts of Southwest Chula Vista, and parts of the city of San Diego, including the map below. Let's pull in here. Let's pull in, folks. If you're watching, I'm pulling in. Here we go. Okay. So it looks like it's Imperial Beach heavy. Yeah, it does go up into Coronado, parts of Coronado. And so if you're watching and you're in this area, don't drink your fucking water. I'm not trying to be funny, but don't drink your water. Seriously. So that was one issue I saw come, and I'm just like, yeah, God. And then to see that he's not going to explain why he didn't initially add that, it was just incompetence. People just don't do their fucking research before putting out a big notice, and then go, oh shit, we forgot a couple areas. We're gonna tell him now, and then we're not going to tell him why we didn't tell him, because we're not going to say, oh, we're just fucking stupid and we didn't do our proper research. Moving on to a lighter, I guess not a lighter story, but just not as nice if you're a San Diego sports fan. Local soccer team, San Diego Loyals, they're done. They're not quite yet. They're still in a season currently, but after the 2023 season, the San Diego Loyal is done. San Diego's Loyal is a pro San Diego soccer team. And this announcement comes just 3 months after San Diego was announced as the next location for an expansion MLS team. So you're losing one to gain something, San Diego. Understand that, okay? The MLS is coming to San Diego at the beginning of 2023. The team will start playing at the Snapdragon Stadium. One note on Snapdragon Stadium, whoever, you did a great job. I've been to a couple San Diego Wave games. My brother's a huge San Diego Wave fan. So I've joined him to a couple games in that stadium, albeit small. I think that's the point, though. Very, very nice, clean architecture is great. Every seat there seems to be a good seat. So I give you props, City of San Diego builders and investors, I guess, into that Snapdragon Stadium. It's a great looking stadium, and it's in the location of where old Qualcomm used to be, if you are familiar. So the league cited the lack of a viable stadium for the main reason for shutting down, which I understand. They probably wanted to keep their games at Snapdragon, but you have the Wave and you have the MLS team coming up. So they were the odd man out, and they probably didn't want to go use UCSD's campus or San Diego State's campus or any of those, or maybe those have already been rented out because those are big colleges with teams existing on theirs too. And maybe there's a lot that could go on, but what we need to know is Landon Donovan was I think he was the coach or part of I'm not too fully versed, but I know he was definitely involved, and I'm scrolling here if you're watching, involved in this team, in the Loyal. So, and I'll go here. Let's give a little quote. So, having a modern, commercially viable stadium solution is vital to our club's long-term success and is a pillar of the USL's growth strategy, said USL Deputy CEO Justin Padakis. Despite collectively pursuing multiple potential options with SD Loyal's leadership in the San Diego area, an appropriate stadium solution has not materialized. So again, it seems to be that, you know, they maybe don't have enough money to fork up front to kind of book and reserve the stadium when it's needed. So they're going the way of no longer having the team. Let's see what else they got here. It's not yet known if the Loyal's franchise rights will be sold or transferred to a new owner, or whether the club will simply fold after the season. USL said they have more information on the franchise rights in the coming months. So we'll get to know more about ownership, and for the most part, people don't give a fuck, to be honest. They just cared about another sports thing, another sports team in San Diego leaving. We know we had the Chargers leave. We have the Padres, but we don't have any basketball. Padres are always their tickets are insane now because they have 3 fucking multi-millionaires, and we're not even talking about the other guys. Baseball is a sport with just so much money, and look at me talking sports. Even when I said I wasn't, it comes. I'll finish it with this. Loyal have 4 games left and are in the midst of fighting for a playoff spot. So if I'm you boys and you're listening on the Loyal, play your fucking asses off, man. Play your asses off. Show them what you could have brought to San Diego as winners. Go out on a high note. This is your opportunity to show off your stuff for maybe getting on the expansion team for a future. If you're going to move out of San Diego, there's probably other opportunity elsewhere. So play your asses off. Continue to fight. Get a playoff spot if you can. And don't just fold yourselves. You're athletes. You're not businessmen. So you know as little as I do about this. Maybe you do because you're involved. But what I'm saying is, keep playing, boys. Keep playing. Don't let this diminish your spirit. Your athletes. Be athletes first. Come ready to ball and show San Diego what you're all about. Because you'll still get lots of love. So I'm 50 minutes in. If you're still with me, I appreciate you a lot. I'm gonna start doing these a lot more. Politics, news. I never thought I'd be here in my life speaking like this and so passionately about this stuff. I do care a lot about what matters in this city and this state of California and in our nation of the United States. Do I think my voice is going to make much of a difference? No, but neither did Joe Rogan at the beginning of it. I'm not comparing myself, but what I'm saying is that I want to continue this. And if you like what I'm putting out there, please give me likes, give me comments, subscribe to my channel. This also will go up on my Spotify, and it's the TA Certified podcast there as well. And that's all for me today, folks. So until next time, peace.